Hello and welcome to this basic macroeconomics revision course. I am your teacher Muhammad Nadeem Sarwar. Today we shall continue our discussion on classical theory of income and employment. This is our second lecture on this topic. The reference books for today's lecture are Macroeconomics, Theories and Policies by Richard T. Freund and Macroeconomics by N. Gregory Mankiw. In today's lecture, we shall first have a recap of what we learned in last lecture. Then we shall talk about credit market, quantity theory of money, the classical aggregate demand curve, and the effect of changes in aggregate demand and aggregate supply on prices and output level. So let's start with the lecture. Students, in first part, we learned that classical school of thought was actually the first attempt to explain the determination of income and employment level in the economy. The main assumptions of classical theory are: first, that markets are fully competitive; second, all the prices, including wages, are fully flexible; and third, that there is no role of government in the economy. One of the important laws of classical theory is Say's law, which states that supply creates its own demand. According to classical economists, labor demand and labor supply are respectively negative and positively related with real wage rate, and the market, without the intervention of the government, reaches at equilibrium where there is no unemployment in the economy, and the economic production is always at full potential level. Now let's start with credit market. Students, markets where savings are deposited and loans can be taken are called credit market. There are two forces of credit market. One, the deposits or the savings, and the second, the loans, which are called as investment because these loans are taken and the amount is used to generate future income. Students, if the income is greater than expenditures, the households save the extra income, which is not reflected in product demand. Therefore, it is a type of leakage from the circular flow of income and output, because savings withdraws funds from the income stream. Households sacrifice their extra income and they receive interest against their deposits in form of savings, and there is a positive relation between savings and interest rate. This is shown in the diagram. On the other hand, when firms want to increase their production, they obtain funds from credit market. This process adds funds to the circular flow of income. Therefore, it is called injection. Firms have to pay interest to credit market institutions to get funds. Therefore, there is a negative relation between interest rate and investments. At higher interest rates, only those investment projects are feasible which have higher return. Since these are fewer projects, so the total investment decreases. Therefore, there is negative relation between interest rate and investment, and this is shown in the diagram. The equilibrium in credit market is at a point where aggregate demand for funds, that is investment, is equal to aggregate supply of funds, that is savings. The equality of these two forces determines the interest rate in the market. This is shown in diagram. Next is the quantity theory of money. Students, an American economist, Irving Fisher, talked about this important theory in his influential book, The Purchasing Power of Money. The starting point of quantity theory of money is the equation of exchange. This equation of exchange links the total amount of spending on commodities produced with the total quantity of money in the economy and the velocity of money. Therefore, we have the velocity of money. V measures the average number of times each unit of money is used in transactions involving current output during the given period. An important assumption was that the quantity of money was exogenously controlled by monetary policy authority. Fisher argued that in equilibrium, the velocity of money was determined by the payment habits and payment technology of the society. For example, factors such as average length of pay period, the practice of using bank accounts or bank cards, and the prevalence of trade credit among businesses all affect the velocity of circulation. Shorter pay periods lead to smaller average money holdings over the pay period for any given income level, and therefore an increase in the velocity. Whereas frequent use of bank accounts by consumers or trade credit by businesses also increases the velocity, which is the number of transactions per unit of money. According to Fisher and other quantity theorists, the equilibrium level of velocity is determined by such institutional factors and could be recorded as fixed for short run. This makes the equation of exchange the quantity theory of money, which states that nominal income, that is P into Y, is determined solely by movements in quantity of money. As per classical economists, the output is also fixed at economy's potential level in long run. Therefore, any changes in money supply lead to one-on-one change in price level only. The real output level and hence the employment level remains the same. This is called neutrality of money. Therefore, the basic result of quantity theory of money is that the quantity of money in an economy determines the price level. Now, the Cambridge view of quantity theory of money. Students, Alfred Marshall began by focusing on individuals' decision on optimal amount of money to hold. Individuals hold some money because of the convenience that money provides in transactions compared with other store of values. Similarly, money also provides security by lessening the possibility of inconvenience or bankruptcy from failing to meet unexpected obligations. But as Pico noted, the currency held in the hand yields no income. So, money will be held only insofar as its yield in terms of convenience and security outweighed the income lost from not investing in productive activity or the satisfaction lost by not simply using the money to purchase goods to consume. On these criteria, how much money will be optimal to hold is a central question. The Cambridge equation is written as, which states that money demand is assumed to be a proportion K of nominal income, which is the price level P times the level of real income Y. The desirable property of money is its usefulness for transactions. So it follows that the demand for money depends on the level of transactions, which may be supposed to vary closely with income. The proportion of income that would be optimal to hold in form of money is assumed to be stable in short run, depending on the payment habits of the society. Therefore, in equilibrium, the exogenous supply of money must equal to the quantity of money demanded. That is, with K fixed in short run and real output determined by supply conditions, the Cambridge equation also reduces to a proportional relationship between price level and money supply, same as it was in Fisher's equation. However, the Cambridge theory focuses on quantity theory as a theory of demand for money. Now, the aggregate demand curve. From Cambridge's quantity theory of money, we know that money demand is equal to K times nominal income. So, the real demand for money, that is MD over P, will be equal to, and therefore the money demand is a function of income, and this is plotted on the space of price level and output level, gives the aggregate demand curve as per classical economists. The effect of aggregate demand and aggregate supply on price level and output level. Students, the output level in classical economy is determined by the position of aggregate supply. Any movement in aggregate demand will only influence the price level. This is shown in this diagram, where the movement of aggregate demand does not influence the output of the economy. On the other hand, if because of any factor the aggregate supply curve shifts, it changes the level of output as well as the price level. What are the factors that shift aggregate supply curve and other related topics such as fiscal and monetary policies in classical economics will be discussed in next lecture. Please post your questions and give your feedback in comments. Also consider liking and sharing the video and subscribing the channel. Thank you and goodbye.